Japa, the real truth and the burden of expectation. Behind every departure is a private reckoning. To Japa is not simply to change geography, it is to rupture belonging. The decision is rarely easy, even when it looks triumphant online. The airport selfie hides the tears shed the night before, the whispered promises of return, and the quiet knowledge that departure is a form of betrayal, even when it is survival. Families fracture in the process. Parents sell land and investments to finance their children's migration. Spouses live apart for years, building marriages across oceans. Children grow up with one parent, or with video calls as their only intimacy. Departure is freedom, but it is also absence. As a tradition in Nigeria, the emigrant does not travel alone, they carry a nation's expectations with them. Every phone call from home includes a subtle reminder, remember us. Every paycheck is stretched across continents. Many spend their early years abroad repaying debts, funding siblings' education, or supporting aging parents. Their success is rarely theirs alone, it is communal property. But this obligation comes at a cost. Depression grows in silence. Anxiety tightens its grip. Many feel trapped in cycles of work, remittance, and exhaustion, with little left for themselves. The Japa generation inhabits a liminal space, no longer fully at home, not yet fully abroad. They live between accents, between cultural codes, between allegiances. Some adopt new identities quickly, discarding old ties. Others cling tightly to their Nigerianness, even as it grows foreign to them. Globalization intensifies this tension. The internet keeps immigrants tied to Nigeria's chaos and crisis in real time. They cannot escape the headlines: fuel scarcity, currency collapse, electoral failure. Migration does not end their Nigerian story, it only complicates it. For many Nigerians, the hidden toll of Japa often results in unspoken anxiety, stress, and mental health. Mental health is the unspoken casualty of Japa. Rates of depression, anxiety, and burnout are high among migrants, yet often hidden behind curated success. Therapy is expensive, stigma is powerful, and vulnerability is seen as weakness. Many simply endure, telling themselves, this is the price. Returnees, too, carry scars. Deportees experience shame that lingers for years. Voluntary returnees sometimes discover that reintegration is harder than departure, that the Nigeria they left no longer exists or no longer wants them. Beyond currency cost, the emotional cost of Japa cannot be measured in remittances or GDP. They are carried in sleepless nights, in empty dining tables, in WhatsApp calls that end too soon. A nation's exodus is not just about economics or politics, it is about grief, longing, and fractured identities. If Nigeria is to heal from the wounds of Japa, it must reckon with more than lost talent. It must reckon with the silent sorrow of its people, both those who live and those left behind.
Japa, the cracks in the foundation. The Nigerian state has not simply failed its people, it has hollowed itself out. The systemic collapse visible in daily life, electricity shortages, dilapidated hospitals, underfunded schools, and endless strikes, is not a string of isolated crises. It is a network of failures feeding into one another, leaving young Nigerians with a single rational conclusion: to live. Every sector tells its own tragic story. The doctor working 48-hour shifts with no equipment. The lecturer who hasn't been paid for months. The engineer whose brilliance is stifled by corruption and cronyism. The student who must study by candlelight in the giant of Africa. Together, these stories form the architecture of despair. Nigeria's healthcare sector, already fragile, is collapsing under the weight of immigration. By 2024, fewer than 40,000 doctors remain for a population of over 200 million, when the World Health Organization recommends at least 4 times that ratio. Every doctor who leaves for the UK or Canada carries with them not only a skill set, but also the lost lives of patients who may never see a trained professional again. Japa in this sense is not abstract, it is a death sentence for the poor left behind. The doctor-patient ratio in Nigeria is 1 to 5,000. In the UK, it is 1 to 350. We cannot compete with that reality. Sad indeed. The universities, once proud centers of learning, are bleeding talent. Professors migrate in search of stable salaries and research opportunities, leaving lecture halls filled with underqualified adjuncts or nobody at all. Strikes have become the soundtrack of Nigerian academia. Students graduate into uncertainty, lacking mentors, laboratories, and pathways to innovation. A generation is being educated for exile, not for nation building. The systemic collapse extends to infrastructure and engineering. Nigeria's brightest engineers, planners, and tech developers are designing solutions for Silicon Valley, London, and Toronto, while roads back home crumble and the national grid collapses seasonally. The brain drain is not just numerical, it is directional. Ideas that could transform Nigeria are instead enriching other nations. The future is being outsourced. At the root of this collapse is governance, leaders unwilling or unable to imagine a future beyond survival politics. Japa is not just a protest against hardship, it is a protest against hopelessness. Nigerians no longer trust the state to protect them, invest in them, or even acknowledge them. Thus, Japa is as much about failed imagination as it is about failed institutions. The youth are saying, if you cannot dream with us, we will dream elsewhere. Systemic collapse is not simply about the present, it is about lost futures. Every young Nigerian who lives is a delayed breach, a postponed invention, a deferred possibility. The country is not just losing people, it is losing time. Unless Nigeria confronts this collapse with urgency, it risks becoming a nation where the future is always deferred and where its best stories are told in other lands.